you doing?
Hello. Yes, good, man.
I'm fine.
Episode 2, and we've already had to revert to doing it over Zoom.
Yeah. I was going to say, for anyone listening in and not seeing this and maybe just listening, we are all at home because the current situation has kind of halted to a bit of a... Matt's on a beach.
I wish I was on a beach.
How nice would it be to be on a beach?
How nice would it be to just be doing normal things and not doing everything over a laptop?
It would be really nice, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah. It would. Yeah. So, welcome to the Sleeps Brothers Podcast, episode 2. What has been going on, guys?
We were going to do this a little bit earlier, wasn't we? But we've had some things that we've had to do first. And obviously we've kind of had to readapt to like working from home again and doing it all this way. But yeah, we had a couple of weeks off over Christmas, didn't we? Which has kind of been extended now. Like
it's just turned into off and then like come back to work without going back to work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But we took like just for insight, so everybody knows, like we took a couple of weeks off over Christmas because we were kind of like working really hard on the society, weren't we? And everything like leading up to Christmas, and we were like finishing off the album and stuff. And so the consensus was just to take a couple of weeks over Christmas to kind of regroup ourselves. But then like
into
the first
lockdown,
straight into a lockdown. I think it was the 4th when we first came back, and we came back for like the first Monday where we usually have like the society meeting. And I was there for a morning when I got a message in my family messaging group saying that my niece had COVID. She tested positive for COVID, and I'd been in contact with her for like 7 days prior to that. So I was just like, shit. I was like, I've got to peace out, lads. Like I can't be around here. So like I went straight away and just got a test just so I can make sure and play it as safe as possible.
How is getting a test? What's it like? I haven't had a test.
I love it.
It's awful.
It's
you've got the swab and you've got to stick it in the back, like where your tonsils are. You've got to like rotate it on your tonsils, but you've got to do it for like 30 seconds. And it's like, it's not very nice having something there for 30 seconds. Yeah.
It's
and then
really tickly as well. It like tickles like mad.
Yeah. And you've got to like take that same swab then and put it like up your nose, like an inch up your nose, and then do that. But like, it's just awful.
But you can't, when you're doing it in your mouth, I think you do nose first then mouth or whatever, but you're not allowed to touch anything else in your mouth. So although it's tickling back of your throat and you kind of feel a bit like, you've got to like keep it your mouth open. It tickles.
And you're just doing this on your own in your car as like a drive-through.
Yeah, like a drive-through. Yeah,
they like make you park up, and then like they talk you through it through the window with the windows up and all that.
The first time I went, I just like rolled straight in, put my window down, and they're like, no, you've got to roll the window up because they've got all the signs, haven't they? So they can.
Yeah, because you're going because you potentially have it, so they're like it.
Yeah,
and like a wank place to work.
Yeah, it's proper shit. And now it's like so cold as well, and they just all look so miserable.
They kind of look like the closest you can get to a festival, really, don't they? When you get near it, it's like, artist check-in. That's
exactly what it looks like. I wondered why I was getting a bit excited when I was going through.
I just went for a walk around a place near mine. It's just like an open space. You can go and walk around it, and they had like a tiny little coffee shop there, and grabbed a quick coffee, and I was stood next to this like what are the like the big dumpster bins called? I don't like
biffers.
Yeah, and they were just like a bit of wooden fence and a biffer bin. And I looked down and it was muddy as hell, and I was like, "Oh, it's like I'm at a festival here." Like it's exactly like I'm at a festival. I've been eating my food off like plastic,
just plastic pieces of plastic
plates and shit, just to get that backstage feeling. You know, like the catering feel.
just like making homemade tokens, and you've got to like give it gem every time you want some food.
Nice. So the last podcast we did was pre-Crimbo, wasn't it?
Yeah,
pre-Crimbo. Yeah.
So like, how obviously we've jumped straight into sort of the COVID situation after Christmas, after we had a bit of time for Christmas. But how was everyone's Christmas? Like, was it cool? Like, did everyone chill? And
yeah, it was. Did
anyone manage to see any family, or was it a complete opposite and didn't see anyone? Or
yeah, I went to go see. We tried to keep it to the 3 household rule that was the rules during Christmas. Yeah. So collected my dad and went up to my sister's house, and we just like spent the afternoon up there, and then just had dinner and kind of just came home. Really, I was kind of working right up until Christmas Eve because of something special that we haven't announced yet. It's like working on that right up until Christmas Eve, and like sounds weird, but like I kind of find like inner peace with like working a lot. Like I find like it keeps my head clear.
Yeah, because like, if you don't do it, you get like total work anxiety. So you're not chilled out because you're not working. You're stressing more because you're not working. Yeah,
it's like I know I need to do. Like it just gives me a bit of clarity when I'm just like busy and doing things. And Same. Like when I don't have anything to do, it sends me a little crazy. To be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
But like from Christmas Eve onwards, I like forced myself to not do anything because like I anticipated, coming back on January 4th back into warehouse, and it was going to be all systems go again. So like I forced myself just to be like, just fucking put the laptop away and just have a bit of time to yourself and with Susie and that. And then January 4th rolls along. Or when was it? When was the lockdown announced? Like 6 or something?
I feel like we've never been out of one. I'm not looking at any dates now of like normality. I'm just like, this is life now. Tell me when we can do something.
Yeah, there's no point because you end up like looking forward to an end that's not necessarily in sight yet. So like, you may as well just kind of grin and bear it for now.
Let's just pretend this is forever. And then when someone tells us that we can go and do something, we'll be like, fuck yeah.
I've been having weird sensations on like calls to people, or like we're doing this, where you might call your friends or family up on at night, and like you haven't seen them face to face for ages, and it kind of feels like imagine like we've managed to get life onto another planet, and like there's only shuttles to and from like once every 6 months or something. It's like I get that really like out of this like world feeling of the video chat sort of time. It feels like
dystopian kind of future.
Well, that's it now. Like all that changes for like the week to the weekend is at the weekend we'll probably do like 3 back-to-back FaceTimes with like different friends or different family members, and like that's the social weekend thing now, doing it over that. It's just really weird. You kind of like in the moment it does sort of fill a void. You are like socializing and chatting to some people, and like just kind of tick that box, but it's just a very weird way of doing it, isn't it?
I think it's a bit more of a shock to the system than usual, isn't it? Because obviously, like you're limiting the amount of people that you see, and I think honestly, the entirety of last year, like we only saw each other pretty much.
Yeah,
and over summer when restrictions got lifted a little, like we like made efforts to like see a few people here and there, but pretty much it was just us. So then like going into like my sister's got quite a big family, and just going from just being sat at home for for most of the year to like going into her household that's quite hectic, and then not only that, like trying to adhere to the 3 house rule, like I think there's a fine line between trying to do what's morally right and then doing what's right for your mental health as well. Because like I wanted to see my sister and my dad at Christmas, like while trying to stick to the rules, and but I think that comes with a lot of anxiety as well, because like at the back of my mind, I'm thinking, my dad's vulnerable here.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's just that mental battle of like, what is the right thing to do?
It created like a really weird thing, the whole Christmas thing. Cause like I enjoyed seeing everyone. I thought it was wicked, like having that bit of real life social, but the whole idea where they suddenly like dropped rules for a day, but then it gave everyone like a false thing of, making people feel like, oh, like COVID's not here today.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people take the piss with it as well. They're like, they're giving us. They're like, how can they track who we're seeing and stuff?
It's like a hall pass, weren't it? So it like really confused things. And I mean, look at the fucking state of it now. Like,
I know
it's a disaster, isn't it? January.
It is one of those situations, though. I feel like a lot of people I kind of like see out and about at supermarkets, or I've heard things of like people kind of finding ways to bend the rules in their favor, as opposed to just being like, this is for us to be safe. You know what I mean?
You can find loophole. You can make a loophole anywhere if you want to. Like,
Yeah, like we could technically still be working down at the warehouse now. Like that's the loophole. Like if you can't work from home and like, you know, like you're allowed to go to work or whatever. But we made like a moral stand, just being like, you know, we should do the right thing here. Just try and, if we can work from home, let's try and achieve that first before we try and find a loophole, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just a case of doing whatever like you need to do. There's going to be a point where we're going to have to do something and we'll go and do that. But if we're just designing or if we're like just creating things that can be done from home, then we might as well use it, haven't we?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then, yeah, I mean, we did see each other because obviously we've created our work bubble and we do see each other a lot of the time. And I think the warehouse is is the safest space that we could have to, if we
it's
were
pretty
to like
good
work.
Really, isn't it? Because it's like,
yeah,
we have a nice large space. There's no like tight corridors or like.
And it's basically being outside. Majority of the warehouse is like basically like being outside
it's
anyway.
It's fucking colder than outside anyway.
Yeah, but because of that, we did do Secret Santa this year. First time we've ever done that. So we did meet up to like exchange those gifts for a couple of hours.
It was nice that. I liked Secret Santa.
It didn't really feel like anyone was that arsed at the beginning. I was like, we've got to do Secret Santa. And Matt was like, yeah, let's do it.
I love I've always wanted to do it. I think like, because it's quite a normal thing. You know, I didn't go to university and I always wish I went to university, or like I have that thing where I'm like, I wonder what that was like. Do you know what I mean? Like moving somewhere else and go to uni.
Yeah.
And those like little things of normality, when we were like, should we do Secret Santa? I was like, yes. Like that'll be so much fun.
Any workplace would just do Secret Santa. And I think like in 2020 it became, because like we created the society and we like hired some crew back and stuff, like it felt more like a workplace than ever.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, which was nice. Like the nicest it's felt, I think, having that like everyone's turning up and like we've got loads of work to do. But yeah, Secret Santa was fun.
For us it is like the business sort of work ethic side of things that we are still doing, you know what I mean? Like keeping the machine going and staying like connected and making sure, but it's the kind of fun that we're missing out on.
Yeah.
I guess like so many people feel like that at the moment, where it's like all business and then you can't really socialize or like chill. So
totally.
It's
can you imagine like how easy it'd be to not do anything? Like you could quite easily take this and be like, oh, we can't play gigs and we can't like work or whatever, and just be like, oh, well, we'll just sort of sit and wait. And like if we were just doing that and waiting for it to go to normal, by this point we'd have completely lost it.
Oh, definitely. And I think that goes back to the point I was making. Like it actually calms me down having things to do and like being busy.
Oh God,
like, it stops my brain from like, working overtime. You know, like, and I think that's kind of the trait that we all have in this band. Like I think without blowing our own trumpet, I think we all work pretty hard as individuals.
And I just like, I don't get tired. I literally, if I don't work hard, I won't sleep at all.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I need that like rundown. So because you're saying about society, we just sort of touched about that. What have we been doing? For anyone who doesn't know or isn't part of the society, or maybe just like wondering whether you should join it or want to find out more, but should we tell these guys what's been going on inside it?
So live on the Patreon last month, we did loads of cool stuff, but these were sort of the main standout points to talk about. We had we did a live stream whilst we were recording something. Am I allowed to say what we were recording?
I don't know.
So we did a live stream.
I mean, we set the rules, so but I don't know.
Is that just? I feel like if I go all the way into that, it's going to give a bit too much away. But we were doing something special recording wise, and we broadcast it to the Patreon. But
well, it happened in a bit of a weird way because we actually had a studio booked for a day before Christmas to record something that we wanted to, something a bit different to what we normally do, and then we'd booked that, like we put on Patreon that we were going to have like a big like Christmas live stream sesh, a bit of like a bit of a Christmas hangout. And then the thing in the studio in classic Sleeps fashion just kept on going and we just weren't there. So we were like, should we just live stream the studio? So everyone kind of got to come to the studio with us and listen to what we were making and get involved with that, which was pretty cool, actually. I think it ended up in a nice way. And when we do get to the point where that is something that's out and aired, like all those people will be like, shit, I was there when you made that, which was ended up really cool.
Yeah, like, I think it's really funny because it was probably something that we had nailed like a few hours before, but because our attitude towards anything like that is always like, we've got one more in us, we can do that bit better. And like, which was right. I do think by the time I was completely fried by the time. I think it took me a couple of days to recover from that, to be fair.
The hardest thing with those, like with those kind of things, is because it was all 5 of us all live in one take. You could finish it and everyone's like, that was sick. But if someone had a bad one,
then you're like, oh,
we made a mistake. You have to get 5 perfect yeses. I mean, that's the hardest bit of those.
Which we only got maybe 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And then and to be fair, I do think the last one that we did was the best. So
yeah, I mean, respect to Sav in that he had a job of ultimate consistency in terms of what he was doing in it. We've delved into the making of the banner and the album art, which was something that was going on for ages before we launched Sleep Society, and that banner that you'll see on like Sleep Society video and that is the album cover, that was something that we were designing and then manufacturing for ages, and it was really cool. We did it with like a local embroidery company and a local seamstress, and like we were working on the design for ages, and it is sort of loads of different things all stitched together. It was really cool, but we've made a couple of big pieces of content, taking everyone through that process, which was cool. I thought that's the sort of stuff that I was really excited about sharing, and like that further look into the art side of stuff. It's always like, I love a bit of behind the scenes. That's the shit.
It's really interesting as well. Like, I think for anyone that's looked in any detail at the sort of the backdrop for this record and the cover, like for me, I've not really seen, to my knowledge, I've not really seen anyone do like an embroidered cover. Do you know what I mean? Like you might manipulate it to be a thing, but it's an actual embroidery cover for the album. So it exists. It's really cool. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait to like. Oh, that's my dog. 1 second. Hey.
Walking into the sea.
Walking down to the seafront.
Come back, Matt.
But and also, just while Matt's not here, let's just move swiftly on. We did announce that we were doing the in-person workshops as well, but obviously, current world situation can't do them in person. But we're gonna be doing it over Zoom and maybe with like groups.
Yeah,
stuff.
so I think that the first one's been that I'm going to take on some students to do some like screaming kind of, not really like a workshop, but more of a session for people to just get a grasp on anything that they might be struggling with or not, or anything. Because I've just been through the mill with it, Anna, enough times to be able to just give advice and help people out. So they're going live, so you can kind of apply, if you like, on the Sleep Society, and then I'll be
and that will be coming. That will be coming for like, we're all going to kind of do it, aren't we? In our kind of area of expertise within the band, we're all going to be like, I'm going to do some like filmmaking workshops.
I've got my first one on Wednesday this week.
Nice. Have you booked in already?
Yeah, I've got like I've got 5 people doing like a management workshop basically. So.
Oh, right. I didn't know we didn't announce that yet. That's a bit slow on that one. Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
So I'm doing it this Wednesday. We've had quite a lot of cool people apply for it, to be honest. When we say apply, by the way, we basically just put like do a post announcing that we're doing it, and then we have like an application email. So you send in why you'd like to be involved, and then we pick from that so that we can keep the groups to like 5 and try and make sure we tailor them to people who really want to,
who have a genuine interest, not someone who just wants to.
So
I think for everyone there'll be something they can definitely get involved in, but it's just making making the sessions manageable and like individual enough for people to actually gain from what we're trying to do. Or
I think everyone's been on that chaotic, large group Zoom call now and learned that it's like, it's mad, innit? Yeah, it was quite fun though, like reading the applications as they came in. So I'm like basically talking to people about, Nelson just went dog toy. Talking to people about like, if you're that sort of organizer-y figure in your band and like, or if you have like your own new startup and just kind of the whole world of like self-managing your own small business and like running things that way. And a lot of people have come forward either with just their own business or like people being like, yeah, I'm the same figure in my band, but I'd like to learn more about it, which is kind of nice.
I think the main thing is whether you accidentally fall into that role or you're intending to do that. Do you know what I mean? Every band needs that go-to person and that main point of contact and organization kind of thing. So Matt, that's always been you for us, Matt. And yeah, I think
it's just, it's really like valuable information as well, because like you said, Loz, there is always that one person, like you kind of have like, whether it's like 4 or 5 people in the band, there is like very similar dynamics across the board with all bands. There's always like the guy who sorts everything out, or the guy who's like the designer or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, and I think now more than ever, like, you know, like especially like with the route like we're going down with Patreon, that's becoming a bigger thing. And I think bands are realizing that, you know, it's more of what you can do for your band more than what anybody else can do. And like, you're always going to be the biggest, you're always going to be your own biggest fan. Do you know what I mean? And it's not like waiting for somebody to come and pluck you out of the how many people and do you know what I mean? And offer you this thing. It's about creating those opportunities for yourself.
Yeah. And people are realizing now that like, or that if you are making a band, like defining those internal roles within it are like is a really like key part to making your band work, I think. So definitely. Like we've all fell into ours and like over the years, but I think now if you started one, you try and define those roles a little bit quicker. Like or if
definitely like that's something like if we would have like refined a lot earlier on, wouldn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Which is why like I want to do these workshops, is that hopefully we can help people skip level 1 and 2 of like figuring that out and like start implementing those kind of things that like help us now, but you could be doing like straight away, and it might help the way the band works.
That's like the main thing with my voice stuff as well. It's like, if I can just give a small piece of knowledge to someone who's shouting their head off and getting a bit hoarse or feeling a bit fatigued, if I can just give them a few little tips that'll prevent them getting into the situations I've been into, then it's definitely worthwhile, even if it worked for that one person. So I think the workshops and the sessions will feel really cool and be insightful for people.
It's just helping like prolong just so many of those things we found out from making the mistakes of. So like helping people just like avoid that is the way, innit?
Yeah, and I think especially like stepping into a new era of like how bands are going to come up out of this country as well, because with the whole Brexit thing, it's going to make it more difficult for bands to go and cut their teeth in Europe, which is like arguably like the root of our success. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, and I think bands now more than ever need
mention that to me.
Oh, imagine being in Europe at like a tiny, cute little backstage in the sunshine now with
nothing
in a fucking Portaloo that stinks like shit. I'd take that right now.
I forgot, like last time on the podcast we did the lion thing, so I bought this silly hat so that I can continue the
those hats are so in right now. I've seen so many fluffy like bucket hats. Yeah,
it's so comfy though, and like. So yeah, this is the hat for today's podcast. I'll try and bring another one next time.
If I put one on, I look like a weird, like sketchy, like Mancunian drug dealer. It's like, I'd me, see.
Trying to look around, see if there's anything weird I can put on my head, but I don't think there is.
I got nothing. However, I will reveal the Sleeps Brothers podcast is all about professionals and being as professional as possible. So I will reveal that I didn't have a mic stand for this mic. So what I've done here is...
You're giving the secret away.
It's so the mic's just slotted in there. I just needed to lift it up a little bit.
Mate, if it works, why not?
Mate, I think you need to decorate it for next time. So like, I
think that's what you need to use. Tube. You need to use that every single time. Don't find
it's got a little
solution.
Bit of like vibration padding.
I got myself one of these.
Oh, very trendy.
Proper trendy.
That is cool.
Had a couple of
showing off mics.
On it and
mine's just if I like wee myself or shit myself during the podcast, then I'm prepared. That's
sorted.
That's the only benefit.
You don't even need to really move the mic. You can just turn it a bit.
Right. Tangent over. Oh no. Sorry, do you want to carry on?
I think we were both doing the same thing, but I was just going to say, you mentioned something then, which isn't the funnest thing to talk about. It's definitely an important thing that's happening at the moment, especially for our world and creative industries. But Brexit.
Ugh.
And I know, that's exactly how I feel about it, but
it's almost as if, we've kind of got a vaccine now and we're kind of just ever so slightly seeing like a bit of light in terms of getting people vaccinated, and like we might see the gigging touring world coming back, and then in comes
Brexit.
Yeah, as soon as we get over that hurdle, we're going to have to like seriously work out how Brexit is going to affect touring bands. Like it's quite scary.
Well, it brings down the whole house of cards, doesn't it? Like it affects everybody, and it's like, what hurts me the most, it's like we're in a bit of a, because we've been a band for quite a bit now. Everybody knows that. It won't affect, it probably won't affect us as much. Like it's going to be a pain in the arse with like carnets and stuff like that. But it's like, it's the younger bands that are trying to break out there that are going to, like I said,
anyone that doesn't know what a carnet is, a carnet or carnet is like, it's like basically like an inventory of everything you're taking into the country, right?
A manifest, yeah.
A manifest.
And it's like I was saying, like I think the reason behind like most of our success as a band is because like we went out there in Europe and we built Belgium up to become like Belgium was one of the first places we went, and we kind of built that up at one point to be on equal par to some shows that we had in our hometown.
It had a better reaction when we first went to Europe. We got a better reaction there than we did in the UK. And I think it kind of like encouraged us that this could be something more legitimate than we might have thought it would be in the UK.
Yeah. But being able to move around like from the UK into places like France and Belgium that are quite close, quite freely.
Yeah, just jumping in a van and just getting out there.
Because the foundation of how we grew.
We weren't going for fucking a month's tour. We were going because we'd been offered 3 shows in Belgium. Do you know what I mean? Or like something small.
2-day tour.
2-day tour. And the money would just about cover like the petrol or whatever, and we'd sleep in the van. But if we didn't have any extra money to spend on anything then, we'd be splitting the €20 that were left after fuel if we were lucky that there wasn't any. And if you were a new band now and you got that opportunity and can't go because of the fucking hurdles in place, whether that be visas or just like, we're noticing it on merch. Now, if we ship merch to Europe, you get the same shit that you get from someone shipping something from America, where you get a little slip through the door saying you've got a product held at customs. You need to go and pay that thing. And what does that make you do with shipping from America? It makes me go, fuck that then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like why would you
just don't? And that's one of our massive like survival lifelines, is that like Europe is a place that we've spent so long building and have this incredible connection with, and the fans there support us by buying merchandise.
It doesn't even feel like it was fought for very hard by our government though. Like all that petition went around that everybody signed, and there was like hundreds of thousands of signatures, and then it just didn't feel like it was fought for very hard.
They what I mean? They forgot about the entertainment industry and the thing to put that on the checklist of like. It
was like it's complete afterthought.
Not needing a visa.
Fishing back or independence.
And everyone was just talking about fucking fishing. It's just.
I saw an hilarious meme the other day, and it was like a picture. It was like pre-UK joining the EU, and it was like this girl in the 70s like open up a Christmas present and it was just a big box of fish, like raw fish, and she was like ecstatic about it. And it's like, why is the fucking fishing thing being brought up?
And also I think is like one of the most frustrating aspects of the whole thing is that the people who've encouraged this and made this decision is,
I would agree,
constantly talk about it being like for the better and to like put business back in the UK. But everyone who has a business in the UK or has a small business in the UK, they can't physically afford to run it out of just UK stuff because we don't have the manufacturing in this country to stand for everyone's small business to run from. If you look at all the shit in your house, all the shit around you, none of it's from the UK. And
exactly, yeah.
So all those small businesses who are the future of Britain's fucking like
economy,
are all fucked because we can't operate our small business anymore.
Well, a lot of people didn't even really know what they were voting for. Let's be quite honest. It was just like racism rhetoric. You know, they were playing on people's racist traits, and they just want people out of their. They just wanted people out of their country. Like, you know, we saw those fucking interviews like of reporters like going around interviewing Brexiteers, and I don't think I've seen a legitimate answer out of one of them.
I haven't. Anyone like, if for it to help UK business, like in my eyes, you're talking about 100 years by the time it takes us to have like rebuilt the UK's manufacturing industry for people to actually use UK companies for everything they need, which no, we're not going to see. Like,
well, this is the main thing I was saying with voting for people when it was when it was happening. Like, it's not necessarily it's going to affect us in terms of touring freely in Europe and stuff like that. But the huge changes are going to come for like your grandkids and shit. So totally. Like, don't just vote with how you think it might benefit you now. It's all about how it's going to work down the line. The most thing I'm pissed off about is I can't get Pepsi Max anywhere. And that's really important. You know what I mean? Like,
is that top tier for you now? Pepsi Max over Diet Coke?
Yeah, I don't know what's happened, man, but I've fully switched.
You do always seem to have a can in your hand.
It's because
I'm on the nab trying to create a bit of vibe.
Because I'm working out more than
2:00.
I know.
I'm working out more than I ever have, and like this just kind of tastes like a bit of something sweet. Do you know what I mean?
It's because it's when you're
just a sparkly water, me all the time.
Yeah, it's when you're on a diet, you just want anything that has taste, anything for a bit of enjoyment.
But there's been like a shortage in all supermarkets that I've been trying to go and get it. And I found that low-fat mozzarella and Pepsi Max, I think due to Brexit, is just not showing up on the UK shelves like it used to.
They missed out on that on headlines, didn't they, on fucking tabloids?
I'm sure everyone's really interested in that. Like,
one funny thing I did see a few weeks ago that was in the tabloids, that because of Brexit, Europe have brought back they brought in new import laws for food. So like there's new regulations on bringing meat from the UK into the European Union. So like lorry drivers have been getting their packed lunches taken off them because they've got like ham sandwiches and shit. And they're like, this one guy was like battling it out with this dude. Is like, it's my fucking lunch. You can't take it off me. And this French guy just took it off him and he was like, welcome to Brexit. Do you know what I mean? And there's bound to be like, I'm not like, you know what I mean? Like there is bound to be some lorry drivers out there that voted for Brexit because they didn't really know what they were voting for. Or maybe
they were getting the ham sandwich taken off them.
They're getting the fucking lunches confiscated. I just find it funny.
I mean, what we've got to hope here, I think, is that the government who are in power now here have made so many ginormous fuck-ups in the last few years, whether that be coronavirus, Brexit, and the way we've handled these things. We've managed to get ourselves, even though we're a tiny country, up to like one of the highest and worst on the corona
I think
spectrum.
It's slowly sinking in for people, innit? Because I've seen a lot less statuses like trying to give Boris Johnson a break. Oh, leave him alone. He's trying his hardest.
If we're witnessing all this, it's not just coincidence that it's a disaster and then we've got this fucking stupid Brexit situation, which isn't going to benefit anyone. I haven't heard one pro thing about it yet from anyone. I'm even witnessing like my fucking, like it affects people like my parents and shit like that. And just so many people that's got to like pay attention to the fact that it's doing this, and maybe with a better leadership, we could actually. It's not completely like impossible to change it with Europe. We could with a better leadership, we could like renegotiate with them and not be in this situation. So like that's just all I'm hoping
like
for.
I think us three can agree, like we're not the most politically fluent people ever.
No.
Do you know what I mean? But I do think we know red flags when we see them. And the biggest example of a red flag for me is the Conservative Party, and especially with fucking Boris Johnson leading. Like it's just fucking fishy.
You don't have to be politically fluent. You just have to have a moral fucking compass.
Exactly. I mean, look at the school dinner fucking situation.
Yeah, or anything in our day and age that is involving putting a border back in place, like compared to taking one out and knocking one down.
It's got to be the wrong thing, hasn't it?
That has to be the wrong direction, doesn't it? Like,
yeah. They're the borders, break the walls, man.
We said it. They've fucking built one now, isn't it? Yeah, idiots. But yeah, I mean, that's enough of that. You know what we think about it.
People might have seen the petition going around to sign. I don't know. I saw something about it being dismissed, and it's hard to know what is right and the wrong way to approach things now. But there is a petition going around to come up with some deal or some way of giving artists free movement, like a visa.
That's what the visa was for. But then,
right.
They've come back now and said, yeah, the latest news on that is that it's not happening basically.
Right. I mean, this is the last thing I'll say about it, but they're like, if you are like just leaving university or just going to university or that age where like, which one I think in the current situation, coronavirus, I think that's up there with almost the most affected age group. If we were 17 and bands just starting to we're just starting to get going and we're just starting to meet people and like get out in the world, travel or like get like start relationships or anything that age. If Corona happened then and that got paused, it'd be devastating for you, wouldn't it? I mean, those like
completely devastating. I mean, like for everybody's kind of like with lockdowns and stuff, they are losing like portions of their lives.
Yeah. Right, and that's a really important moment in your life, isn't it? But then, like, also in that same time, that's the time in your life where you should be going to like what we loved about Europe so much when we first started going is that we're like, holy shit, do we have this on our doorstep? This insane, like, you don't have to go far in Europe for everything to change. It's thousands of different cultures. Like in one radius that's quite easily travelable, that does like, you learn so much there about all these different cultures and like you meet incredible people. Like, I think that's a really important thing for people to use.
But not only that, like the mainland Europeans are just like, they're passionate, heavy music fans. Like there's a reason why festivals in Europe, at least for like heavy music, because they're some of the best in the world, because it caters to that kind of person who just fucking loves it.
Now, if you were from like a European country looking in on the UK, it is embarrassing, isn't it?
That's why I'm always like, everyone needs to know where we stand on this, because this is so far from something that like that we would have like pushed for.
Definitely.
Well, I mean, we just got keep the fingers crossed for the most like optimistic outcome in the whole situation.
Yeah.
And hopefully like if there is like young bands who hopefully it's not like a rule out situation where like it's not going to be possible. Hopefully there will become ways for it to be normal.
We've spoken about sort of what's been going on in our world and like the Christmas period for us and how how the band's coping with being apart from each other and stuff like that. So I was just going to say we could maybe move on to what's coming up and happening in February.
Shit's about to get fucking real ASAP.
Hot. It's about to get piping hot.
The society for the back end of this month and in February gets very, very exciting.
Yeah, it does.
It
really does.
We have some cool ass shit that if you join, you'll find out about.
Basically, we're giving everybody the inside scoop in the society about this massively exciting thing that we've got going on. Possibly bigger than the society itself.
But there's lots of cool shit. If you're already a member, then get stoked because it's about to get exciting. And hopefully everyone's having a good time who's been in anyway. I think we've been doing so much cool shit. I looked through the list the other day of like the things we've put out and like the amount of content in there, which is quite easy to get that it's like still there. You can use those tabs at the top of the page to look through it. And there's like this bank of behind the scenes stuff now. And like
even if you joined, sorry, Matt, I was going to say, even if you did join now and you felt like you were going to be joining the society late, you actually wouldn't be because you can actually go back.
You get everything.
You can go back now and sign up and you'll just get a backlog of like a backlog of so many videos and cool stuff that we've been doing already. So we're also giving away Sean's whammy pedal this month to one lucky guitarist. If you send in your favorite Sleeps riff, you playing your favorite Sleeps riff, we're not judging this on quality of player or like technical ability and riff. We're just getting the best vibe, and we're going to give you playing, don't we?
We're going to give you Sean's whammy pedal that myself and Sean.
I think Jar can put up a really nice image of this, can't he, as well?
There we go.
But yeah, that looks so cool.
Yeah, definitely.
We've tagged it all. The amount of
Sleep
music
style
that's been written on that thing.
It almost like changed like the direction that that Sean was taking his leads, wasn't it?
I completely, completely.
Like he got it on. Is this the same one that he had on Brainwashed?
We've had a couple since this one.
Defo So What and You Are We, in it?
Yeah, it's Defo So What. It might have arrived at So What, this one, but it's done and it's done this record. So yeah, so we're giving that away, and we're basically going to be giving something cool away every month. We've got something lined up for February that's not for guitarists and that's just for anyone who wants to apply to that. So that's going to be a cool giveaway. Yeah, but it's kind
of to reiterate, there's tons going on Society that's like popping off all over the place constantly.
Yeah. Never mind a very exciting, top secret, cool shit, which is going to start kicking off as of Wednesday this week, I think.
Yeah. When is this coming out? It'll start kicking off within the Society by the time this is out.
Yeah, so, it's been kicking off, hasn't it, in Society?
Oh, it has. It really has.
Just getting the tense right.
I will also, not as exciting, but I'm going to be releasing my third filmmaking episode, which I'll be taking you inside like one of my projects and just showing you generally like my workflow from start to finish and just generally how messy my workspace is.
Nice. There's also a conversation that I had with a vocal specialist called Jane Shaw, who I've been to see for many years. That went up as well, just quite recently, within the last couple of weeks. So that's also something else that's going in there.
Nice.
Yeah, and you've had one with Mel come out, Melissa Cross as well.
Mel.
I just went straight from Mel for some reason.
The latest one was Melissa Cross, wasn't it?
No, it was Jane. But there's quite a lengthy chat with Melissa Cross and Jane in there.
For anyone who doesn't know Melissa Cross is, she's like vocal expert and she's done it for years, and she's
basically like trained all your favorite screamers, basically.
Yeah, exactly. She works with like Lamb of God, Killswitch Engage, and just all those awesome metalcore bands that. Yeah, Corey Taylor. So anyone who's interested in vocal, those videos are in there for you now as well. There's 2 quite lengthy convos that might help out.
And anyone who's interested in graphics or the art side of things, this will have actually come out by the time the podcast is up. I've done like a full, like a process video on a design that I've spent about fucking 4 weeks of my life on in December, and basically do like a full process tutorial sort of thing, showing you the way I work and drawing fonts and different kinds of illustration stuff, which is really cool. So there's so much going on. It's a great place to go and get involved. So SleepsSociety.com.
So while we're here talking about society and stuff, should we call in to a society member?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So
Why not?
If the notes are still correct, we are going to be talking to a Megan Pitchfork from Norwich.
What's a last name?
I'm going to say my first question.
Metal, isn't it?
My first question for Megan. She's here.
Yeah, she's
in.
Hi, Megan.
Megan's here.
Megan, hiya.
Hello, sorry, I couldn't hear anything. I was like, can they see me? Can they hear me?
How's it going?
You're in.
I'm good, thank you.
We
How
can
are
see
you?
you and hear you now.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Good.
I love your banner.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Banner's cool.
I did think, is this the best place? Because I look like a proper little fangirl now. I've got that.
Yeah.
You've placed it there strategically for this call, haven't you?
Very cool. So, Megan, my first question is your second name really Pitchfork?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. You sound really deflated about it.
No, it is a really odd one. At least when you go on phone calls or anything, they're like, how do you spell it? And I'm like, it is like the garden tool. And I think Shrek, because obviously, pitchforks and stuff. But it is weird. You get remembered a lot, which is good. They're like, oh, I remember you because your last name is like brilliant. Thank you. But it could, I don't know if it could be worse, but I've always had it. So I've kind of gotten used to it.
So, Megan, have you got anything that you would like to ask us?
Yes. Come on. Okay. So if you guys weren't in a band, what would your dream job be? So if like in school, was there anything you ever wanted to be other than in a band, like astronaut or whatnot?
So, landscape gardener for me.
Actually, Matt.
I've kind of got like a low level glowing craving that just makes me want to be a landscape gardener.
I do think you could probably be the next Alan Titchmarsh. Like I can see that in your future.
So when I was a kid, I wanted to be a priest. I don't know why.
Did you actually? I never knew this about you.
When I was like really young.
Came out the opposite, mate.
Yeah. I don't know why that was a thing. And then, so more than like I wanted to be something, soon after I wanted to be a priest, when I was a bit older, it was always an ambition to dive off the highest diving board in the world. And then as I got older, I realised,
such a great ambition. Jamie, can you get a picture of Loz hanging upside down as like an upside down Antichrist on the thingy? Because that is a combination of both those things. And you dive off balconies, so you kind of have fulfilled everything you wanted to do, but in like someone led you down the path of Satan on the way to it, though.
And then, if I wasn't, I love skateboarding. I never got good enough to do anything with it, but like, it's always been like something I've really loved. And I would love to be a pro skater if I wasn't singing in a band. I'd take footballer as well. Like I was a keen footballer.
That's what I was just about to say. Like I was obsessed for years.
Keeper McKenzie.
I was the best goalkeeper in Venice, I love you now. I could save a ball or two. I fucking loved football and I lived for it for like so many years. And then got to secondary school, probably like year 8. And then I got into alternative music and just got into like really heavy shit and like got into Slipknot and stuff like that. And then from then on, just wanted to do this. And that got me into skating as well. I love skating and I did want to make a thing of that for a little bit, but never got good enough.
It kind of went hand in hand for me, like getting into skating and then getting into like punk rock and sort of alternative music went hand in hand. Like I'd skate to the skate park I'd get the train to the skate park in Sheffield from Doncaster. And then that would like take me past a couple of venues. So as soon as I started seeing these like gig listings and stuff, I'd be like, all right, I could come to Sheffield, not just skating. I can go and watch bands. And then it kind of all merged together and all happened at the same time. I'll just walk out of the room a second. It looks like you walk into the sea. You're like, I've had enough of this. I'm out into the sea.
That's good.
That's funny. So how's
fucking Truman Show? I can't get out.
I was going to say, Megan, how's lockdown treating you? Like, how are you coping? Like, are you like, obviously everyone's missing live music, but are you still very much on top of like the releases of your favorite bands and stuff like that? Is that keeping you going? So you're listening to new stuff and, you can't wait for live stuff, or is it something that you like?
Where's your head at?
You really feel like, the need to be at live gigs, or, like what's your deal at the moment?
I have started listening to so much music that I used to listen to like 5 to 10 years ago. And I really liked it because I kind of I've always stuck to the same music from when I was really young, up until like 16, 17. And then I discovered all this other music and I was like, oh, wow, I can actually listen to more than one type of music. I always thought I just had to like one type of music. And I was like, no, I'm not going to listen to other people. And then I discovered this other music. I was like, oh, wow, I like more than one type of music. And then I kind of went into like other bits and bobs. And then this lockdown, I've just gone through all my old playlists, and on YouTube, I found a Kerrang playlist from like, I think it was 2012. Obviously, it's not just music from 2012. It's what they used to play in 2012. So like a bit of everything. And it's so fun. And luckily I can work from home, and I've got my TV right next to me. So I've just been playing that, which is so fun. And I've remembered all these songs that I've forgotten about. And I really like it. I haven't been to a concert, I think, since, I think it was March 2018. So even 2019, when I didn't take advantage of it. No, 19. No, 2019. It's Post Malone.
That's a long time
2019.
ago.
Yeah. And I wish that was in March, so right at near the start of the year. And I wish I took advantage of going to shows then. But I was like, oh, I have so much time. And now I'm like, oh, I can't go to anything.
There's something kind of nice about digging back to like the bands that got you into like a genre or like a scene. Like I still listen to like some of the bands that were right at the beginning of me becoming a thrasher, and like those bands, and you put them back on, and like that's the beautiful thing about music. It's like a lot of it doesn't have like a timestamp on it. People say like that record stands the test of time, and there is like, you could listen to Hybrid Theory now and you could tell me that was a new record. Like there's loads. Out Come the Wolves by Rancid as well. You could release that now for me, and I'd be like, that's
you can listen. You can listen to it when there's been like a little bit of time since you haven't listened to it. When you listen to it again for the first time in a little bit, it's like listening to it for the first time. You can still get excitement for like. I still get excitement for songs on Hybrid Theory for sure. Like it's such a great album.
This is a nice segue actually into something else that's on the list to actually talk about, and that's if anyone's been listening to anything new or something they haven't heard before that they're currently jamming. I can open it up and be like, I heard of the band, heard of the guy called Ghostmain a while back, and I was like, that's never gonna be my cup of tea, really. And
it's got you. You're
it's
in.
got me. There's a song called Hell Rap, and it's like funny but like really good at exactly the same time. And I've been loving like that Ghostmain's new record. I think it's called Anti-Icon. But also, like Megan was just saying, like realizing that I can listen to more than one sort of genre or loads of different stuff at the same time. So in one hand, I've been listening to like Ghostmain. And on the other side, this week, I've been listening to a lot of Ghost Atlas, which is like, his stuff's like my version of what emo is. Mm-hmm. Just the way he uses his voice and stuff just reminds me of like when I discovered emo for the first time. And I'm not talking like Panic at the Disco emo. I'm talking like
The Used.
Yeah. Yeah, bands like that. So
I went down like a really fucking ancient path the other day, and was like listening to like a P-Rock playlist.
Wow!
And there's some things on there that like,
for anyone who doesn't know what P-Rock is.
P-Rock was basically like the Scuzz of like 15 years ago,
2001.
Yeah, something like that. And that among like Kerrang, MTV2 Rock, and P-Rock was like the main three, where literally
MTV2, Headbangers Ball. One second.
I'd literally get home from school and literally just watch music videos for like hours on end. And if there wasn't something I liked on one of the channels, I'd flick between the three and there was always something on. But yeah, like listening to like Whitmore, the Not Katie's, I believe. Sponge. Do you remember Sponge?
Yeah.
Like loads of bands like that. That was really fun.
Megan's face didn't move, so I'm guessing
that's completely over your head.
I'm so sorry. I'm trying to rack my brain like, oh yeah, I will know.
But what I have been really enjoying is the new collection of Architects singles that are coming out, especially the latest one, Dead Butterflies. Fucking
Yeah.
Like I've been excited to hear that since I heard it on the live stream, just because it's just so different for an Architects song, but obviously it's still very much them because it's like obviously like Sam's vocals and the guitar tones and everything like that. But I just think it's quite exciting to like hear them go in a bit of a different direction than they ever have. Like I'm really just enjoying this new flavor of Architects. So yeah, I think like Dead Butterflies for me is my favorite on that record so far.
Like I'd like to give a shout out to Holding Absence as well.
Oh, that new tune is sick. Afterlife.
That new tune rips.
Because they sort of, not quietly in any way, but they sort of consistently bring out very strong sort of like rock, emo-y, catchy songs. And so for anyone that's not heard of them, their new one, Beyond Belief, is a really good tune.
Yeah.
I've been listening to that as well.
Is it called Afterlife? In the afterlife.
Oh, right. Yeah, I think Beyond Belief was actually before that. But yeah, they just release like solid tunes. Like,
it is a really good song.
And Lucas's voice is really great too.
Megan, do you have any more questions? I think we only got round to answering one of your questions. I'm sorry.
We rattle on, don't we? We rattle on.
Okay. What would your ideal festival be to attend? So not to perform at, you can perform if you want to there.
To attend.
But like if you could create your own festival, who's going there? On what stages? And even
what bands that are playing?
Wow.
Yeah. Or artists, or even choose the food stores if you want.
All right. Quick fire. Laws 10.
10?
Aaran 10. I'll do 10.
All right. I'm going to try and do
10. Shit.
I'm going to try and do a quick 10.
Dead or Alive 10.
I'm going to go with, I'll have Marilyn Manson, Ghost Main, and Motorhead as like my 3 different stage
headliners
bands.
Let's try and create 10 between us 3.
All right, that's my 3. That's my 3
bands. And then if Megan bands is pretty crazy.
Megan picks 3, we'll have just about enough. So I'll go. What did I say? Marilyn Manson, Ghost Main, and Motorhead.
Solid.
So I'm gonna go for the obvious thrice. Darkest Hour. Do you know what? Let's just put Whitmore on there. Why not? Who wants to see Whitmore play Allison? I never got to see him play Allison. Let's put him on.
Nice. I never got to see Motorhead play either. So
we're coming in on top. We got Rancid because they have to. Linkin Park are playing Hybrid Theory in full.
This festival ace.
And Hendrix is playing.
Wow.
Nice.
Great.
Nice.
Megan?
Okay. I feel like I'm putting a spanner in the works here. It's all kind of, we've got quite like, okay. I'm going to have Whit Lowry, NF, and Post Malone.
Nice.
NF.
I know it's all different, and I want to. They're both my different types of music, and obviously we've got a lot of that type, which is good. But I'm bringing in the others as well, which I love.
I spent all of last year obsessed with NF.
Yeah, I've only just discovered him, and I'm like, where have I been?
What's the record called? It's called The Search. It's called The Search, and it's just start front to back, incredible. I listened to that whole record when we were in America. A friend of ours showed it us in February in America. And
Jacob.
Yeah, Jacob. Shout out. Jacob Shepherd.
Jacob.
And I'd go to bed and put it on in my headphones, and I'd be like so pumped up. I'd be like, just like jamming along to these tunes because his lyrics are so good and he's like flows like incredibly fast.
Yeah.
It just like encourages me to write faster and faster vocals. But yeah, he is great. Good shout.
It's amazing.
I like My Stress off that record.
Oh yeah, banger.
That sounds like a good festival.
It's a great festival.
Yeah.
Megan, do you have any more questions?
Yes. Right. Where is it? Okay. Where do you guys see the band, or hope to see the band in 5 years' time?
I think we've been asked that question like a few times over the years, and it's always like, so what's next for While She Sleeps kind of thing. I think for the moment, for me, I just want to see shows return back to some form of normality, and we just keep like, as friends and as a group of dudes, we get to just keep playing music, however that ends up being, you know, like I think sort of the older you get, if you like, and the more that this is sort of a career, the more you kind of like, you want it to just carry on and being able to do what we do is special enough in a way. So
we're grateful of the position. So for me, it's just the continuation of that and just like the stability of being lucky enough to still be doing it in 5 years and still have a good fan base and like be able to be making music for a living. I think that's all I need for me to be content.
Definitely. And I think like with the lockdown, it's almost forced us to take this weird hiatus in a way. Do you know what I mean? Because it's forced us to stop touring. So I think by the time we get back to doing what we love doing, there's just going to be, we're probably going to take ourselves on tour for 5 years anyway. So.
Yeah. I think like having it taken away from us is a big eye opener on how lucky we really are to. Not that we ever took it for granted, but like it's an eye opener to be like, we should live it as much as we can and take the opportunity to be it. Like we spoke briefly for a while about this before you jumped on, Megan, and even the way that Brexit is potentially going to change our touring lifestyle, like, and how we go from country to country and stuff like that. Like it's a bit all up in the air at the moment. So I think it's teaching us to really not take that sort of side of things for granted and just enjoy touring life with our mates. Like,
totally.
Yeah, I was thinking, you've probably been asked this question so many times before, like, what do you see for the future? But that was, well, you may have been asked it before. Well, in this time.
No, it's always a great question. Yeah, but
now things are very different. I didn't know if that had changed, or because I don't know what your answers would have been before, but I didn't know if that had changed to like not a lower scale, but how it would have changed.
I'm saying 2 nights at Ali Pali in 5 years.
I was just going to say that when we drop our new record, we're probably going to be headlining everything, festivals and everything. So,
the arrogance.
It's arrogant. But no, completely joking. For us, I think it's just about making it through this lockdown and getting back to touring as best we can as soon as possible.
Yeah.
5-year plan. Just keep churning out bangers.
That's it.
Nice.
Do you have any more?
I do, but I'd literally be here for like 5 more years. That's your 5-year plan. Stay talking to me.
Megan, it's been lovely to have you on.
Yeah,
Thank you very much for coming on.
It was really nice to speak to you.
And thanks for being in the Sleep Society.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. I feel like I've just done like a Kim K interview. Like, thanks for having me, everyone.
You're very welcome.
We shall send you out some goodies, I think, just to say thanks for being a part of the podcast and, you know.
Thank you.
Jamie will liaise with you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye, Megan Pitchford.
Nice. Cheers, Megan.
Have a good day, Megan. Peace out. Bye.
All right, and we are on to the last section of the show, which is shout outs. In the last podcast, we talked about having a bit of a moment where we can talk about people's businesses or bands or creative endeavors that are in the society. So we've been having you guys send stuff in, and we've all chosen something to give a shout out to, and hopefully this helps. If we're shouting something out, then check out the company or the band or whatever it is, and hopefully that helps your business in some way.
I looked down the list and sort of looked and listened to some bands, and I took note of sort of the Etsy stores and things like that. But I decided to shout out Defender as a band and Flatline as a band, because they both seem to really come in hard with the music and sort of the punk rock kind of style. So they were both 2 really good bands. So yeah, check them out.
Do you know where they're from or what's their vibes? Why should I listen to them?
Defender were from Switzerland.
Cool.
And they had a bit of like a comeback kid vibe when I first listened to them, like a bit of a hardcore punk rock kind of vibe. Obviously I need to listen to more to get the whole picture of what that is, but they sounded really good. The band Flatline, I don't know much about them at all, but again, I just sort of clicked on them and watched some YouTube stuff, and they just sounded really cool. But both bands sounded cool, like things we would listen to and enjoy.
I saw this in the list of things that had been submitted, and honestly, it blew my fucking mind. It's such a cool idea, and it's quite a funny one because after looking at it, I then realised who it was that was doing it. So it's this guy called Ash Betton, and when we did Antisocial music video, we had to all get stunt double versions of ourselves that look really close to us to be us in the video, like in the background while we were in the video in the foreground. And this guy, I randomly found him on Facebook, called Ash Betten, he looks so like me, which is crazy. But anyway, he
even like moved like you and stuff though on the video.
It's mind blowing. I've never met anyone who I look so close to. But he has this thing called, I don't know how to pronounce this properly. It's called shooting womprats. And
shooting womprats.
Right.
And honestly, right, the Instagram is shooting womprats _. And he basically he photographs like little Star Wars action figures in sets that he makes, but he makes them look like super real. So like he shoots it like macro basically. And you should pull up the Instagram basically. It's such a cool concept because it doesn't, I've always kind of been obsessed with like models and like small things and like detailed small things. And he like small things, like
trains and planes,
all that shit. Yeah. And he you wouldn't really be able to tell like off the bat that these things are tiny little models. And then also there was a band called Take Breath, who I liked, who were like sort of like a melodic hardcore kind of vibe, with quite a cool vocal. Called Take Breath. I had a listen to those guys and thought they were cool. So shout out.
Nice.
So I thought I'd give a shout out to our boys within Reach, who are like basically like a Sleeps covers band, but like kind of going on the Matt doppelganger thing. Like it's your cousin's band, isn't it? Is it your cousin?
Theo's my cousin, yeah.
Cousin, yeah. And he's basically like you when you that band are kind of like Sav,
look
you
at that.
And Sean as a kid. Yeah, that looks pretty awesome, doesn't it?
It's awesome. Sorry to interrupt you there.
They're basically them three are kind of like you three, like 15 years ago.
I definitely
which is
get like crazy memory jogs when I see them doing stuff.
Even like looking at Theo's room, like I went there to Theo's in the narrative section of the Sleep Society music video, and just like being in his room was just like being in your room, like as a kid. It's like he's got like spray paint on wall and shit, and like tagging everything. And but yeah, at the minute, like, you know, those guys are, well, how old are they now? Like 15, 16? Like in the
I think they're
later
in like
years of
13, 16. What's cool is they all met through Sleeps and then have like met and then sort of made friends online and are now like writing their own music online, and they record each of their sections and send them to each other and put it together. Kind of like if we were playing music over this Zoom call, they're like doing stuff like that, which is sick.
Yeah, that was the main reason why I wanted to give them a shout out, just so I can put them on people's radar, because they are transitioning from being a Sleeps covers band into writing their own material. So, and you know, they're a bunch of really enthusiastic dudes. So, I wouldn't be surprised if things happen for them in the coming years.
A very good example of like making it work remotely and like in this weird time as well. Like that's, it's quite easy to be defeated at the moment and just be like, oh, well, maybe I'll do that afterwards. But like, you've got to do it in this weird way and make it work even in the dodgy environment. So yeah, props.
Yeah, definitely.
Sweet. Nice. Cool. Well, I think that just about wraps up the Sleeps Brothers second ever podcast.
Yeah,
definitely, man.
Thanks for listening. There will be more.
Yeah, and if you were going to sign up to Sleep Society, then there's so much cool shit going on this month. So get involved. If not, and you just want to keep listening to our music and checking out our shit, then thank you so much for the support. You're awesome.
Yeah, defo. Yes. New shit happening really soon. Keep your ears and your eyes peeled.
Peace.
All right, cheers, guys.
See you later.
See you later.
Bye.